Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Welcome to the main session.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So first, I just want to applaud you on your nomination for VPI. You will have 2 minutes to deliver your speech if you're looking at the screen, and if you see me at 20-second mark, I will be nodding my head or moving my hand just to let you know that you have 20 seconds left. And at the 2 minutes, I will interrupt you just to keep it fair.
Okay.
So let me
I cannot see you. Is it okay if you also give me a countdown like the way that they did with Kwang?
Yes, I can definitely do that.
Countdown, and then also whenever I end, because I can't see you at all. Thank you.
Okay. I can totally do that.
Okay, great. Okay, so just let me know.
I'm gonna count down to 1.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Friends, fellow Shepsters, and most importantly, familia. I stand before you tonight, an undocumented Latina in STEM, and as the great Isaac Newton would say, on the shoulders of giants. These giants represent to me those previous Shepsters who fought to build Shep from the bottom up. They represent my older brother, who was a first-generation immigrant, paved the way for me. And finally, these giants represent my parents, who left their home country to give us a better life. My story, like the story of many of you, was shaped by Shep. And I, Natalia Rodriguez, am eager to run as your VPI, ready to give back to this ever-growing familia. My first goal is to make Shep an active advocate for inclusion and diversity. I believe that if every single person that walks through the Shep doors feels seen, heard, and valued, then they will feel empowered to foster their strength and tackle their weaknesses. It starts by looking in. Currently, the number of Sheptinas encompasses only 30% of Shep. Diversification of majors is still low within Shep, and finally, retention of members is essential. Therefore, I want to make it a priority to recruit more women, and I also want to implement the No One Eats Alone movement, where I make it the responsibility of every leadership to sit with members during every general meeting and ensure that no one eats alone, just like a true familia. This brings me to my second goal. I know that times get tough trying to balance personal and academic responsibilities. So I want to be that bridging gap and ensure that chairs, e-boards, and members are successful and that all those amazing SHEP initiatives come to fruition, starting with those leadership retreats where that sentiment of support and familia is established. Next, having those social events where members build those tight bonds. I believe that it is essential for this next year after everything that we have endured, and we are only as strong as our familia is. Finally, I want to improve our presence within SHEP by making sure SHEP gets the recognition from U of H through those social media pages, school magazine, and Cougs Radio, while applying for all of those grants and funds that the university has to offer to bring more income and recognition to SHEP. Overall, with everything I've said today, I want to be a defender for every SHEP member, and as your VPI, I will commit to making a difference to inclusion and diversity in everything that I do, because inclusion starts with I. Thank you, guys.
Wow, that was a record. We did finish on time.
Thank you.
So now I'll be opening the floor to Cindy and Andres to ask their alumni question.
Natalia, hold up. I got to catch my breath.
Yes. Thank you so much.
I love it. I loved your speech. Congrats on that. I also, like Nick mentioned in the chat, I love that you focused on inclusion. And I think I already know the answer to this. So I have 2 questions. My first one is, what is the very first thing that you would focus on or improve as VPI, your first role as VPI?
I think it is that inclusion and diversity, but I would think that my first focus is that member retention. So I feel like when I started at SHEP, I didn't really know how to find my place. Where do I, who do I talk to? I know this is a good organization, but who do I connect with? How do I do this? So I think that if we can give those new members or those members who are not given maybe that much attention, that attention that they need to grow, to prosper, then that would be my first focus.
Great. And then my second question is, I was reading through your information. Now, I also went through industrial engineering program. So next year, you're going to take all of your senior classes. And starting with your 5 classes that you mentioned there, you're close to a 3. How do you plan on, you have very, very great goals and targets, it seems like, as VPI. So how do you plan on juggling, your schoolwork, make sure that your GPA doesn't lower down, as well as keeping up with your responsibilities as VPI?
Absolutely. I think it starts first by being organized. I realized that throughout my career, before I was very involved with SHEP, like I would just completely indulge myself with school. And actually before I was industrial, I was chemical. Yeah, okay, perfect. And I engulfed myself with school. And when I started being part of SHEP, my life started becoming more dynamic. And actually, when it became more dynamic, I actually ended up being more organized and being more motivated in the work that I did. So I think first, by being more organized, for sure, keeping my organization, but also making sure that every day I'm giving myself like those mindfulness and motivation that I need to make sure that I'm basically, pushing myself to acquire all those goals and making sure I'm still doing good within my classes.
Okay, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy.
Natalia, what a speech. I have to say, like that,
Thank
props
you.
on that, the energy and like the power of that speech. Amazing. I love the bar you're setting for the team. Like you're really setting a high bar, calling out some of the things that SHEP is not doing well today, which is how we're recruiting female SHEPtinas and the no one sits alone. So one of the major things for a VPI is to set that standard for the chapter of what success looks like, and then make sure that the entire leadership org is trending towards those goals and hitting them. So I already know what your standard is. You made it very clear in your speech. What are you going to do to empower the rest of the leadership team for SHEP, your chairs and your e-board, to buy into that and hit those goals with you?
Okay, great. So one of the main things that I wanted to do, and the first thing that came to my mind was those leadership retreats, which I think, something talking to the other leadership, and even I was an outreach chair before, and we didn't really get to do because of COVID this last semester, but building that bond within leadership, first, and making sure like, hey, we all have the same goals. We, kind of building that bond first and being able to translate that down to our team, down to the members, I think is the first thing. And then specifically with that goal of like, making sure that we have that inclusion, making sure that that stays in the mind of everybody else. I want to make it, and I put this part of my speech as well, because it's very important to me, is making sure that it is a responsibility of every member, like of every leadership member, that they are, who are you reaching out to? Who have you not talked to? Who, like, it's almost like a goal of like, who is alone, who is sitting by themselves and you haven't talked to before, even if they're shy, even if they're whatever. I just kind of make it a goal, like a official responsibility within leadership.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andres.
And thank you, Natalia, for your speech and your answers. Very, very strong. I'm going to be placing you back into your breakout room.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys.
Next candidate.